folks, and welcome to another Comic Book Friday Fun Day. And what we're looking at today is we're gonna rip some packs. I ended up getting a absurd number of packs of all sorts of nostalgia cards, and I'm talking like we've got Garbage Pail Kid stuff. We have Marvel Series 1, 2, 3, and 4. We have some Nintendo stuff. We've got a lot of really fun cards from the 90s in particular. And what I want to do to kick off here, because I was able to get a really great deal. I was helped out a lot by a seller on eBay named Junk Wax Bombs, and so I'll put the image right here.
Whoopah!
And so yeah, he really did me a solid and helped get me a really great price on a lot of nostalgia cards. And so go ahead, take a look if you're into this kind of thing. Take a look. He's got a ton of stuff. He's got sports stuff, comic stuff, and really solid person. And so what I want to do to kick us off was something that I added to the cart, not because I'm really a huge fan of the source material. And what I have is again, Artificial Limitations. We have 5 packs of Joe Jusko's Edgar Rice Burroughs collection fantasy art trading cards. And these seem like they're largely, from what I was able to figure out, they were released in 1994. There's 60 cards in the pack, 6 cards per pack. And this is a situation where, as I looked into it, I found like a list of the cards in the set. Almost all of them seem like they're connected to Tarzan. And so they're mostly Tarzan stuff. They're mostly Tarzan cards. And there's 6 chase cards called Metallic Storm cards. They average 1 for every 18 packs. So the odds are not great, but we can hope that we've got one in here. Just I'm curious what a Metallic Storm card from 1994 even looks like. There's 6 of those: the White Ape of Mars, the Barsoomian Airships, the Plant Men of Mars, the Banth, a Barsoomian Lion, John Carter of Mars and Deja Thoris, Princess of Mars, and the Thark, Green Men of Mars. I would be equally delighted to see any of those. I just want to see what a Metallic Storm card looks like. There's also apparently a Joe Jusko autograph card that's the super rare in this set. And honestly, I was never a huge Tarzan person. I remember watching Legend was the Tarzan movie I saw a lot as a kid. I picked this up because Joe Jusko's art is just gorgeous. There's only a handful of artists whose art just, I'll pick up whatever they do. You can see like Richard Pace. There's a couple of pieces over this shoulder. I also am huge into like Derek Robertson and Mark Bagley. If you haven't figured it out yet, I'm a huge classic era New Warriors fan. But Joe Jusko had the artwork for the Marvel Masterpieces set, and that was just before he did these. And one of the things I loved about that Masterpieces set, like I remember as a little kid, I was at like the Philadelphia Comic Con, and I saw the Masterpieces card of Speedball. I don't know if it's true. I heard a legend that like he really didn't want to draw Speedball. He didn't think it was a serious character. But I'm glad he did. It's one of the most gorgeous Speedball cards I've seen. But just Joe Jusko, he could draw a Mr. Yuck sticker, and it would be stunning. And so this is purely a set of packs I added to the checkout because I just wanted to look at more Joe Jusko art. And then as I started looking more into it, apparently, like I have not opened any of these yet, apparently not only do these cards have Joe Jusko art on all of them, but on the card backs, there's art by Frank Frazetta, J. Allen St. John, Roy Krenkel, Boris Vallejo, and more. And these are some of like the big artists of the era. Like every time you had one of those card sets where it was a very large price point per pack, these were the artists who were doing the artwork on them. And so someone who's just a fan of comic art, I just wanted to see what Joe Jusko did with these. And so let's go ahead and just see what's inside and hope that we get some cool looking stuff. And really hope that we see what a Metallic Storm card is even about, because we just had a Snowpocalypse, and so we should have a Metallic Storm after a Snowpocalypse. I think that's only meteorologically fair. And so let's go ahead and whip out the pack opening station.
G.I. Joe will return after these messages.
All right, so let's take a look at these Joe Jusko packs. Apologies if there's any wobbling. This is the first time I am using my camera in the overhead, and my camera arm is clearly in need of an upgrade because it does not want to support it, so I'm going to try and get by as best I can. But as I mentioned, we have 5 packs of these Joe Jusko Edgar Rice Burroughs cards, and we are looking just for some banging art here. And I would not say no to one of the wild what was it? The metallic cards. There was a name for it. It's not actually mentioned. Oh, this is wild. This is saying that there are randomly inserted John Carter of Mars metallic cards, as well as autographed cards. So I wonder if the information I found, I don't know if they did 2 different series of these, maybe, and the versions that the information I had that I was looking at before opening might be from a different version. The packs looked exactly the same, but we will see what we find in here. These guys do not want to open. It's almost like they've been sealed for more than 30 years. This could be a long video if I can't even get a single pack open. Let's try it from this side. Nope. We got something. Alright, let's see what we've got. Oh, these cards are glued together. This could be a bit of an experience, but I am already geeking out from what little glimpse I got of them. But let's get them separated first. Alright, so we have... Not entirely sure what this is. Pterodactyl. Hatchlings. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of show the cards, and then I'll come back through after having a second to take a look at them and just roll through some of my favorites in terms of the art. Here is a caveman figure. Here we have... I don't even know which way is up on them. I'm guessing this way. Looks like he's fallen off of a cliff. Here's a Tarzan figure fighting a lion. This looks to be the cover art for the pack art. And fighting an ape. Joe Jusko never fails to disappoint. This is not even a situation like when I was first exposed to Jusko's art, where it was the fact that he had been drawing one of my favorite comic book characters, but it was a situation where I don't know most of the properties. Like, I'm familiar with Tarzan, but I'm not a huge Tarzan person. These ones are not quite as stuck together as the first pack. Let's take a look and see what we have. So we have our first duplicate. Shooting a bow and arrow at the moon, perhaps. Oh, look at the fire. Look at the fire and the way he does the lighting in that. That's just amazing. Joe Jusko is absurdly talented. Another Tarzan against an ape. Is that a centaur? Oh, that is wild. As someone who is a early British literature scholar, I could say so much about what's going on in this image. I'm really curious as to where it's being pulled from. There are 2 packs there. Pack number 3. Oh, that opened perfectly. That was beautiful. Maybe I just needed to... I haven't opened a pack of anything in well over 20 years. Maybe I just had to build up my pack open muscles. Eesh. The card sticking together issue is real. These 2 right here. It helps to not give a crap about hunting chases and like freaking out and going into top loaders and things like that. I'm not judging anybody that does those things, but this is all nostalgia for me. I was never into the characters that were super valuable characters or super rare characters. My favorite characters were always figures like Darkhawk and the New Warriors, and so I'm just looking for things that make my childhood smile, and Joe Jusko's art is among those things. I could not even tell you if there's any value to these. I don't believe so. I haven't seen anything in my Googling. Here is the checklist. So there's still 60 cards in here. No, this checklist talks about the Metallic Storm card. So yeah, I don't know what the pack was talking about. This is the same thing we saw on when I looked at it online. So we are hoping to get one of those Metallic Storm cards. Look at that, he's fighting a sea creature. Oh man, it's the head's coming off, but look at the face on that lion, man. Joe Jusko is absurd. And just even just he could have done paintings of the animals, like the lions and the elephants and the apes, and just that alone would have been worth the price of these packs. There we go. I'm getting talented here. Unstick these cards. And what do we have here? Apparently they made up after trying to cut the lion's head off because now they're besties. Just seeing cards like this, I would have loved. I don't know. Has Joe Jusko ever done Namor, the Submariner? I would have just based on this card alone. I would have loved to see Joe Jusko on a title like on a Namor title. Here he is on a bit of driftwood. Fire. Look at the fire in the background and the smoke. It's those little details that make Joe Jusko Joe Jusko. Sneak attack there. Breaking out of the bar. This is giving Superman energy. Breaking the bars with his bare hands. We've got one pack left. I know I've seen people talk about last pack magic. That's when they're really worried about getting hits, which is not a whole heck of a concern for me on this channel. If you're looking for someone that's going to try and find all the hits and then get them graded and then see how much money they've made. That's not the right thing for this channel, because I'm in it for the nostalgia, and I'm looking to spread most of what I get here to try and just build the hobby. I've got some friends that have young kids in elementary and middle school, and most of what I pull is going to go in that direction to try and build the same just sort of joyous vibes in comics and illustration art that I've had. Although I'm not going to lie, I would love to see what one of these cosmic whatever cards. I keep forgetting the name of it. There's a sea creature. I don't think we have one. Oh my god, look at that elephant. Again, looking at this, I want to see Joe Jusko on Namor. I need to look into that and find out if Joe Jusko has ever done Namor. Hyenas, giving some Lion King energy. Apparently, is it a tiger? As a person who just loves animals, I do have a little pang every time I see one of these characters killing an animal. Weirdly, no pang seeing the pterodactyl killing Tarzan. I think whoever is this Tarzan. Yeah, Tarzan at the Earth's core. And so, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and put a pause on this and then go through what we got and take a closer look at it. And I'll be right back and show you what I think are some of just the cooler cards that we pulled.
Now, back to G.I. Joe.
All right, folks, I have gone through and made my selection of the 5 that I pulled to spotlight. And these are some wild cards. It was a tough choice. I had more than twice the number that I wanted to narrow it down to, and I was agonizing. I was like, weirdly, I spent a lot of time going back and forth between 2 cards that featured an elephant, and then ended up not picking either of the cards that featured the elephant. So, but I'm happy with the 5 that I landed up on, and we've got the 5 cards right here, and we'll take a look at them one by one. And we're going to start with a card called Fatal Plunge. If you look at the checklist, Fatal Plunge is number 38. And a couple of things I love about this. First, it's giving Namorita energy from the New Warriors. It's a blue figure underwater, breaking free of a trap. The energy is there. I love the water swirl at the top. And it's just giving like Namorita meets Houdini, which I just love. I love the colors. I love the energy. Absolute one of the favorite cards that I pulled out of these 5 packs. Next up, I had to go with this card. This card is number 23 in the set, and this is from Limestone Monolith from Tarzan, Lord of the Jungle. And it's, like I said before, with my academic subfield, the idea of the impact of Christianity on English literature from the earliest texts that we still have, from the Exeter book and before, this just seemed to tie in so well with that. So just in terms of personal literary interests, even though they're not Tarzan related, this just reminded me of all this is the vibe of a lot of things. It's almost like a stone monolith version of the tree from Dream of the Rood, which I found really just a fascinating image. The third one is from it's called Cannibal Frenzy. It's card 46. It's a scene from The Moon Maid. And I love this one because, again, it has it almost looked like a minotaur. I don't believe it is. It's some sort of an alien-looking creature. But it's a depiction of cannibalism. And the note on the back was interesting because the comment that he had was that the piece contradicts every precedent set by previous illustrators. It was the most controversial depiction of a scene that he did, but he's also been told it's the one that's the most faithful to the book that he's illustrating. And so I found it fascinating because I love Greek mythological tales, and it's giving that sort of energy. The last two, I had to go with this one. This is card 32. It's called Spectre. It's from Tarzan and the Golden Lion. And I like this for a couple of different reasons. Just the light and the shadows with the fire are things that just really strike. I love when artists do fun things with light. I would love if they could find a way to get the glare from the ring light off of the cards and my eyeglasses, but no such luck. I don't have that kind of skill. But it's the lighting one, this one for me. This reminded me so much of some of those, like, Boris Vallejo, like some of the Julie Bell cards from the old Marvel sets back in the day. And just the way they utilized light, like the Hildebrandt brothers, some of the way they utilized light, whether it be fire or neon or light being cast by the powers of some of the characters. It reminded me of that so much, and no pun intended for the fire, it gave me a case of the warm, fuzzy nostalgia feels. And then the fifth and final card, I'm very glad I went with this one. This was one that kind of won several of the final battles over which cards were going to be in my top five. And it's because it's the whimsy of it. It's fun. And you've got this soldier hiding behind a rock on the lookout probably for Tarzan, as Tarzan is about to sneak attack him from behind. And so there's a bit of a fun energy to that. And then the other reason I was super happy that I picked this card as one of the top five is if you go to the back, one of the other things I love about this set, and again, it reminds me a bit of the Hildebrandt brothers masterpieces set from back in the day. Not only do we get some of these other illustrations from some amazing artists on the back of the cards, but the comments in here are all comments about the art process that Joe Jusko went through in creating these images. And so in this case, he said, my friend Larry Hama, who has an extensive reference library of military history, was kind enough to draw up a diagram of a World War I German uniform and fax it to me for this piece. And so I'm obsessed with process in artistic pieces. The two kinds of artwork that I collect are comic book art and theatrical costume design art, because they're process pieces. They're pieces created as part of a larger creative endeavor. And I've always been fascinated by that. I love costume art. I love art, comic art, because of that process aspect. And so one of the things I love about this card set is it includes the process, how the piece came to be and what steps he went through and who helped him out and what his thought process was. So for example, on this one, the first one we looked at, his comment was talking about how the core, like the key to making this image work is this swirl at the top. It's what gives the piece its energy. He said, the funnel effect at the top of this painting is the key to the whole illusion. The challenge of figuring out such an effect makes what I do so much fun. And the thought that goes into it is what makes card sets like these so much fun for me as a collector. And so yeah, I'm gonna stick these into. I've got a binder going for some of the random packs that I'm gonna pull on this channel. And at some point, once it fills up, I'm going to go ahead and gift it to one of my friend's kids and let them enjoy the same kind of magic that I enjoyed when I was their age. But yeah, this is the first pack opening, so be nice. Hopefully the camera arm will be a bit steadier for the next time we do one of these. But beyond that, it has been great talking to y'all and going through some amazing Joe Jusko art. Hopefully it gave you some of the same warm feels that it gave me from way back in the 90s. Have a good one, y'all. Hey folks, if you made it this far into the video and you also like hunting for nostalgia, make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. It'll do me a solid. Have a good one, y'all.